Hey, welcome to the channel. It's been a while since I recorded a video, but this is a message for artists about your creative journey. So whether you are currently seeing yourself as an artist, or whether you have a hobby you want to get into, or maybe you don't really think you're an artist, but you kind of feel like there's something you want to make, this is for everybody. But if you're watching this, I assume that you have some sort of interest in making something, whether it's music or images or whatever like that. And so we're going to be doing this reading with Monster Garden Oracle cards, the deck of cards that I made. Since I made these cards, I'm going to throw in some extra cards from the prototype version of the deck, from earlier versions of the deck, just to get the whole creative process involved in this reading, in this message for you. So we're going to have 4 piles. So let's just get straight into picking the cards for the piles. I'm just going to take them right off the top. Hey, pretty straightforward. Let's pick the piles by the image on the card, actually, just for fun. So pile 1 is Truth Revealed. Pile 2 is Universe, Everything is Nothing. Pile 3 is Ready. And pile 4 is Recess, Rest and Rediscover. So that's the 4 piles. You can choose based on the images on the cards, whichever one you feel drawn to. There's no right or wrong. I mean, there is the one you're drawn to more than the others, probably, but you could choose it randomly. You could close your eyes and just pick 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. I'm also going to put an object on each one. So pile 1 is going to have this ginkgo leaf. Pile 2 is going to have green beach glass. Pile 3 is going to have blue beach glass. And pile 4 is going to have a little delicious looking green glass leaf. So I'll leave the video here for a minute. You can choose your pile and then click on the timestamp in the description box and go to your reading in the video. These cards are so slippery. It's almost like there's huge creative energies just slipping and sliding all over the place. All right, pile 1. We've got Nourishment. We've got Inner Guide. I'll hold these up for you. Nourishment. Inner Guide. And Poetry. And then, well, let's just look at these first before we spoil it all with the card in the middle. This is the keys to your creative path. These 3 cards are your creative path in a nutshell, the different sides that balance off each other and keep you creative and inspired. So for you, it looks like it's very nourishing. It's like this is just being alive for you. It's nourishing to let strange, mysterious words just waft up from deep inside you. This is you being you, just doing you. And with the Truth Revealed card, it's like part of you is just kind of generating metaphors that explain things about the world and like naturally using symbolism and I would guess words such as lyrics or poetry. But it doesn't have to be, but it's like you're almost naturally just concocting riddles and saying esoteric expressions that are kind of filled with more meaning than you recognize. And it naturally just comes up from inside of you. It's like you're creating things that become a challenge for someone else, like a riddle for them to figure out. And this is very nourishing for you. Hmm. This leads to what you could become, what you could experience, something you could be, which is a source of support that's deceptively simple. At surface, it just looks like you made a little poem, read the poem, blah, blah, blah. But it's containing much more meaning. This is gentle joy. This is nice little characters. They just sit there, they say nice things. It's no big deal, right? Or is it? Maybe it's deceptively powerful to have all these little cute little creatures hovering around, having the most gentle, chill feeling, but that can be extremely powerful. So these like riddle like challenges that you make might just be deceptively simple things, little flyers or buttons that you distribute, and people are like, okay, whatever, stick it on. But somehow it contains so much more meaning than you might think. And with the nourishment card, it's something that you grow and distribute, like a farmer giving out their fruit. And so, look, you have the nourishment card growing that fruit. Then in this destination of what you could become, there's the fruit too. It's like they got one of the pieces of fruit, and now it's providing fruit for their party. It's growing and distributing little things. And when you eat a piece of fruit, you're like, okay, that was good, but I mean, it's just fruit. But the fruit contains like much more than meets the eye or ends up being having a bigger impact on someone's life than just a piece of fruit should have. Maybe there's deeper. I like so much went into making the fruit, and it's got this seed that could grow into more things. Distributing deceptively simple fruit, and this means something that just naturally occurs inside of you. So it's like what you need is calm, chill space to let the things softly and gently emerge out from you, more so than like hardcore skill training in an artist training program or something. You also, it's probably better not to try to explain all the meaning at first. It's better to let it come out of you. Um, so if someone says you better explain what that art means before you make it, or they say you should spend 10 years going to art school before you dare to make art, this is like what you should dare to do is find whatever it is for you that enables you to get soft and still and quiet and let some mysterious things waft up that you follow and just let the strange words tumble out of your mouth. It's something quiet and still and small, seemingly quiet, still, and small. Actually, it's huge and, um, like, not that it's noisy, but huge and powerful and has great ability to move the heart. Hmm. And like you distribute this fruit that could give people what you put into it and give them more nice things, even if it just goes on the table in their desk. That small little object, it's like you're almost making knickknacks, but a small little object can contain so much meaning for people because we project meaning onto it. Maybe you give things to people in a meaningful situation, like after a really deep, cathartic, therapy like situation, everybody gets a small little object to remind them of this experience. So that's quote unquote a little keychain or quote unquote meaningless object, but it contains so much that you helped people to project onto it. It could be like that. Something about the powers of projection and the way we can put so much meaning on a small little thing. Like this one little unpolished crystal, if I carried it with me and had so many experiences with it, it could contain so much meaning and a value. So it is about invisible, personal, small things. It might not be welcome in a big museum where they want highly skilled things with high level concepts, but it could be deeply personal and powerful and keeping people going with the nourishment card. Let's see these two cards. These are two hot tips to keep in mind, and you got an extra one. It was supposed to be one hot tip, but two cards came out. So we've got excellence, high standards, and we've got lucky, slide safely to success. Wow. That's kind of what I was just saying, though, that like you don't need to worry about developing skills. This is you just blurt things out and your instincts are on point. And this is high level artist stuff. Attaining a high level. Normally, this card would be about like highly skilled, but it's also the extreme confidence knowing you're skilled and not. This is definitely independent, not waiting for someone else to give you permission and not listening to someone who demands that you explain this in a way that's good enough for me. This is like, no, you better allow me to do my thing at the level I need to do it. Like, that's backwards. It's not that I need to prove to you with words that my art is good. This is like, I know I'm good. Where's someone who respects that and gives me the space to do it? In terms of what we were saying about you get the space, you got to find that space to do your thing. That's more important than impressing people with words and skills and art school resumes. It's like a powerful instinct that you have. It's kind of like raw talent and the instinct to just like speak poetry without even trying. It could be something related to improvisation. And you can train improvisation, but like some things get kind of deadened when let's say someone has really incredible improvisation with dance, but they train in ballet for 20 years, and now all of their movements are rigidly in the style of ballet, and it's kind of a trap to be rigidly talented. So it's almost like linger in this in between untrained state where you're just a little nice person in the background. You're not an amazing ballerina in the front, but that's actually where you do your best work in this free, quiet in between space where you can let your instincts flow and follow your instincts as they go and create these like moments that people can project meaning onto. Something about these meaningful moments and objects that you create that look small, but they're kind of the most powerful thing of all. It's not a big 20-foot painting that's highly realistic. It's not a quote unquote masterfully skilled concerto for an orchestra. It's more like this just 5-second moment that someone witnessed, but something was in there that they keep remembering that moment. Or just a little figurine or object this big that someone gets from you after a really meaningful exchange, and they just carry it with them and glance at it, and it gives them a lot of like power to keep going on and stuff. This is an option for a creative path for you to follow if you so choose. Now I'm going to look back at my old versions of my cards. One from the oldest deck. This is the raw materials you're working with. And then one from a newer version of the deck. This is how to refine the raw materials and get from raw materials to final product. So here's your tip for this is the raw material you're working with. We kind of already have a sense of it. Let's see what it is though. Perception. Yeah, this is striking straight to the core. The raw material is your perception because you have the ability to perceive something others can't notice. So if you trained in someone else's style, that would just kind of change your way of doing it to their way of doing it, but your way of doing it needs to be followed 100% thoroughly, this thing that only you can see. This is kind of a weird outsider character that lurks in the shadows but sees the true nature of things. That's the raw materials you're working with. Now, how to refine that into art? Let's find out. You got two again. You obviously have a well of creative ability because extra cards are flying out left and right. Focus and ready. That's funny because another stack got the ready card. You might want to watch the ready pile. It's the new version of this ready card. But yeah, focus in reverse and ready. How to refine it. It's funny because these are both business-like cards about getting things done. Following the plan, focusing on the step-by-step procedure. But with ready, I'm seeing this is like find assistance for the way that works for you. This is low key kind of like assistant energy of someone who helps you make your plan a reality. This is very practical, no nonsense, by the book method. So, this in reverse, it's like you can have a practical method, but it might be something that only works for you. It might not be what is on Google if you search for a practical routine for making art. It could be something that looks crazy and chaotic, but you've got to find the thing that works for you, the place that you go, and the thing you do to tap into your inner poet energy to get things flowing. Find the things that help you get there, even if it's that you have to go to this one specific location, eat one specific food, but that like triggers you to be in inspired mode, that could be worth it. It might be like not a quote unquote normal routine or something rigid or businesslike or super practical, but if it works, it works. It might not be A to B to C. Like usually people have like a pipeline if it's industrial creative stuff. Like you do the sketch, then it goes the pipeline to the designer, they do the coloring, blah blah blah. It's like maybe you choose the colors, then you figure out what you're drawing, then you make the final version, then you make a rough sketch. It's like it might look like nonsense that's out of order, or like maybe it's like not ABC logical. Maybe you start with something you have no idea what it means, but you just keep have been stuck on the idea of a bluebird in a mailbox, and you're like, what? That makes no sense. But you keep working with that and toying with it and unraveling this idea until you figure out what's really there. And if someone else walked up to you, like we said, and they said, what does a bluebird in a mailbox mean? You can't make art based on that. That's a dumb, crazy idea that means nothing. It's like you know there's something there and you can unravel it and get to the point where you understand it. That's way more important than this logical step where you explain in a PowerPoint what a bluebird in a mailbox means. And that's just two random words I thought of, but the point is that it's something that you can sense there's meaning in, but it sounds weird and quote unquote crazy to say it out loud. So that's your message, pile one. Good luck with your creative journey. I love all of this deep, intuitive, personal, momentary art. Sounds so beautiful. Check out the description box for any links. Hope you'll consider getting a deck of my cards if you want. They'll be available to purchase soon, no pressure. And see you in a future video. Bye bye. All right, pile two. This is your reading. If you chose the Universe, Everything is Nothing card with the little orb of beach glass, I'm just shuffling your cards. So this spread is going to be about um, a creative path you could take. What is the path made up of, and where is it leading? So the first three cards are like the frames of the path. What is this path defined by? We've got these three cards. This is what the path is all about. And then in the middle is what it leads to, what you could become, what you could be for people, what type of artist you could be following this path. And then we've got on the side a little clarity card, something to keep in mind if you so choose to follow this creative artist path. So let's take a look. Clunker, broken and beautiful. The unknown in reverse right there. Well, I'll leave it in reverse, I guess. And then star card. Wow. Wow. It's like, wow. Flip flop, a kind of lopsided clunker that keeps going along, but it's because the two sides balance each other out and it somehow keeps going. It's the broken clunker that you would never think wins the race, but somehow it clunks right along the finish line. And the clunkiness helped it. Like, let's say there's a race of like go-karts and one is handcrafted and barely nailed together, and it drives so weirdly that it drives off the side of the course, but then it tumbles through the forest, floats down a river, and then drives out right at the finish line and gets to the finish line first because that was kind of a shortcut. It circumvented all the obstacle courses laid out on the racetrack, all the hairpin turns that all the high quality go karts swerved around, but this one just clunked along and tumbled up to the finish line and then won the race. Not that winning is everything, but the point is that it circumvented all the obstacles by falling off the path and rolling through the forest and then getting back on the path and driving off the path again. Star card in the unknown. It's like there's things lurking in the shadows that are supporting this creative journey. It wasn't just lucky that the car tumbled off the road through the forest. It was like the clunking parts led it to do that. Like I almost like it was guided to by the clunkiness, by forces beyond its control, and all these people caught up in the race around the hairpin turns in the obstacle course. They totally missed out on it because of their narrow vision. This is like, let's chill, guys. Let's just throw all that to the wind and just do this instead. And then you have a silly little sideshow picnic. Forget about all the big ideas, all the business plans, but that ends up being way better, way more powerful. This is another example of the vibe. It's like, why is everybody so stressed? Quit this silly, stressful business stuff. And that sounds like unmotivated or unenthusiastic, but it's actually like really, really powerful and makes space for unknown things to emerge and for clunky new things to emerge. And they're clunky because they're new. Smoothness comes from being optimized over many, many years and a long time. And that's smooth and fast, but it's really weirdly limited and controlled and old. We're talking about things that are so new, they're clunky, junky, unprocessed, but like raw and beautiful and can be best enjoyed as they tumble through the forest, not as they go down a high speed race course. So let's see where this leads you. Sparkling seed that leads to unstoppable growth. Yeah, if you choose to follow this creative journey, it's like going to be unstoppable series of shenanigans, things tumbling and stumbling, and then accidentally winning first place and overcoming every obstacle. Like that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but like there's something really powerful in the newness and in the seeming chillness, whatever cool attitude, devil may care attitude or whatever. But no high speed, fast race car driving corporate businessman could ever have this level of power and like beautiful newness and originality and ability to overcome obstacles. The fast race car driving businessman is going to be screwed when he gets to a red light and then he's stuck. And then there's a brick wall and he's stuck. But the person driving a weird, clunky little like makeshift go kart will like drive on the sidewalk into like the sewer system and then emerge somewhere else in the city because they're not limited to the roads with red lights. Okay, that's your creative path. Underground, I want to say underground sight and sound, out of sight, out of sound, clunking, weirdly, like the people who want to, award the fastest car with an award might laugh or give you a side eye, but then you ended up in the most interesting location. Maybe you didn't win first place, but you had the most interesting journey, and people who appreciate new things and originality things are going to appreciate it. And I think it's probably going to like, no one can deny that you're progressing on a really interesting path. They might not get it, but no one can deny that it's very, very creative and the like what it's doing is real. All the big time race car drivers are stuck at the red light and they might be angry and annoyed with you, but they can't deny that you just flew in the sky and went to the other side of the city. And they can't deny that you got to the finish line. They might think you broke the rules, but you sure got to the finish line. Here's something to keep in mind. Chaotically spinning off the rails. This is insane because this character, I associate them with driving a go-kart. They're from a comic that I drew where they literally drive a go-kart through the desert with literally it's a clunker with the wheels popping off, swerving around. That's crazy. You would think I looked at the cards because that's exactly what I just described. But that's like, don't be afraid to have a chaotic journey where the windshield falls off and you drive up on the sidewalk, because it's going to be a wild and unforgettable ride that's worth having, and it'll somehow get to the finish line. Maybe it'll even win an award. I feel like whatever you do is going to be so undeniable that it has to get some kind of traction and attention. Like, you make a big mess, you broke all the rules, but then they're kind of like, we kind of have to give pile two the award for most innovative, because there's no denying that it was. Like, yes, the the car kind of crashed, and I mean, not anything violent like that, but I mean, the car broke down and that caused a scene, but that was by far the most innovative car that we saw in this competition, even though it was clunker, even though it was like so weird and makeshift. Like, there's something there. It's like it's clunking and barely moving, but no one can deny there's something there. That's really special to have as an artist. So now let's look at a card from this. This is how my cards began. This is going to be a clue as to the raw materials of what you're working with. Then we're going to look at these cards, second stage of the cards, and this is going to be a tip on how to refine these raw materials. So this is like what you're working with in the raw state. This is the muck and gunk and clunk that you're dealing with. Wow, Mr. Bobo, that's this guy. You're doing you. So the reason it's so clunky is because you're extremely raw and honest and authentic. Other people, like we said with the businessmen putting on their nice suit to drive a fancy car, what they're really doing is hiding their self, hiding behind a suit, hiding in a fast car that's so smooth and so refined. You're being genuine, honest, and new, and actually stepping into the unknown as you are and giving an honest response. No one can deny that's powerful and real, and they might try to tell you you broke the rules, but it's obviously that's how art is made. No one can deny that that's real, that what you're doing is different than everyone else, and that you're going somewhere. They're probably too scared to do it for themselves, though. One more card. How do you refine this raw you-ness? What's a tip? Refine is even the wrong word, but work with the raw you-ness. Study and investigate thoroughly. To make this work, you're going to have to know yourself really, really well. If you want to be this raw and vulnerable, it's going to help if you know exactly who you are, or what your vulnerabilities are, and who the real you is. If you don't, like, it'll seem honest, but like limited, and the distance you can go will be limited. If you have plunged into your soul, whether through therapy or self-understanding, healing practices, all types of stuff like this, and the point is you being comfortable with yourself, being comfortable with the unknown parts of yourself, then you're unstoppable. You can be raw, vulnerable, exploring this new space. No one can deny it, and your journey will continue until you reach the point where you're maybe feeling a little bit lost. Then maybe you need some more time to recover your balance, your bearings, and get to know this new part of yourself, and then going. Like, the only limitation is how well you know yourself and how comfortable you are with the unknown parts of yourself. That's amazing. You can go so far with this. No one can deny it. Only thing, I don't want to say the only thing holding you back is you, but the only real limitation is how real you want to be with yourself, how well you want to know yourself, and how much you want to share that with others. That's the end of the reading. And that was powerful. Pile 2. Wow. And I wanted to say at the very beginning, friendship. Mr. Bobo explores the whole... My game, Monster Garden, is about Mr. Bobo. It's his journey to find friends. And these two guys, they're best friends in the story they come from. And this character actually zooms around the desert accidentally making friends. So somehow friendship. That feels totally unrelated to everything that we just said. But I would guess that a side effect of this clunky, raw you-ness is that people who like your art, it means they like you because your art is kind of synonymous with you. And it will enable deep and powerful friendships. They might be few and far between amongst all the smooth businessmen, but when someone likes it and likes you, they're going to really like the real you and know the real you and want to spend more time with you, maybe even make stuff together in like a powerful partnership. But the point is, like, some side effect of this or relevant aspect of this is like friendship. Authentic you lead to authentic connections. And the ones who like real recognize real. So when you do connect, it's going to be a very, very real connection. That's the upside of this creative journey that awaits you if you so choose to accept it. In the meantime, hit that like and subscribe. Leave me a comment below, and maybe you could buy a deck of these cards if you like them, because they're going to be for sale soon. See you in the next video. Bye-bye. Hey, Pile 3. This is you if you chose the Ready card with blue glass and a big ass. Sorry to be crude, but look at that big juicy butt that I spent time drawing. If that's not too wild for you viewers, but I sometimes say wild, freaky deaky things, look out. Actually, I should make this appropriate for all ages. I shouldn't use any foul language. I'm sorry. Forgive me, this is 18 plus. Maybe I should say it's 18 plus. Too late. Uh-oh, whoops. All right, so I'm going to describe a creative path you could take. I'm going to look at the sides of the path, what it's made up of, what it leads to, and then give you a helpful hint. So let's put your Ready card over there with your blue glass. This is the path summarized in 3 cards. This is what it leads to. This is the artist you could be, and this is a word of advice. Your path. We got Sparkling Seedling in reverse. We got Poetry in reverse. It's funny because these cards have been in other piles already. And there we go. It's the Creation card, Visionary Artist. You got the Visionary Artist card. Come on now. And this could lead to unexpected, although it was in reverse. So, Ready. Artist. I'm befuddled by this one. It could lead to you being unexpected in reverse. It's like the thing that it leads to feels completely separate from everything else. It leads to a totally different thing. Almost like it leads to the start of a totally different creative path. Honestly, what I want to say is right now, you might be really early on in your creative journey, or like you think your medium to work with is not the final most amazing medium for you. Not that any mediums are good or bad, but it's like someone who, for whatever reason, they always thought they were supposed to be singing because that was what they considered was the right way to express themselves and it's safe and nice. But actually, what they really loved was dancing to music, but they thought, I can't be a dancer, like I have no rhythm. Or like actually, they were supposed to be listening to music and drawing big drawings based on the sounds because they knew they loved music, but it wasn't about singing. Like they had it backwards. So it's like this leads to something totally out of left field. This is like, try a lot of things. The sparkling seedlings all represent levels in my game. It's like, go on a lot of little journeys. Take a pottery class, take a painting class, take a music class. Try this, try that. And in the process, you might notice what is the common thing you're always coming back to. And that's a key to your core yourself as an artist. So it's like in a pottery class, let's say you're always interested in putting the glaze on the pots, choosing the color and the texture. And then in the dance class, you're always interested in making sure everybody has matching costumes that are relevant to the themes of the song. And then in the painting class, you really love like mixing the paint. And then you're like, well, no matter what medium I'm in, I keep caring about colors and textures above anything else. So what if I go into textiles and making fabric? It's like that's totally out of left field. Pottery, dance, painting, and then suddenly fabric? But it's like actually that matches your core interest. This is like something out of left field is the thing that this leads to. Or it's like you never tried to sing, so you just kept dancing and you love being a backup dancer to the singer. But then one day you start singing when the singer's out sick, and then everyone's like, you sound better than the singer. What? You should be singing and dancing. It's like this leads to like out of left field, you totally changing what you do. So you're being encouraged to start your creative journey now, but it's like do this. I don't want to say that your current journey is a little bit flimsy or like too early or amateur, but it's like get on it now so you can lead to the bigger path. It's like get in the little tributary stream so you can link up with the gigantic, massive river that's a few miles away, but get in the little stream first. So don't be worried if you're taking a pottery class, but you're like, but I don't want to do pottery forever. It's like, no, just do it. Get the ball rolling. Slide save that to success. This is crazy. This is somebody else's advice card too. Another pile had the same advice card. That's hilarious. It's like, just get it rolling. And this card, a ball is flying at this character. It does a backflip to kick the ball. Another ball comes as a backflip to kick another ball. It's like just keep in the sense of get the balls flying at you so that you have to respond. Just get them to throw the ball so you can kick it, and then just keep kicking different balls till you figure out how this kicking thing works and what balls you like. That's a really weird metaphor, but it's like you just like get yourself out of your head really so that your instincts come into play. If you're in the pottery studio, you can't just sit there thinking about how, should I be creative. You've got clay in your hands on a spinning wheel and you've got to shape it and keep it stable. It's like start doing stuff to refine and hone and understand your instincts and see what turns you on and what you like, because you have like powerful artist foundations, powerful artist path that's calling you. And with the ready card, it's like, okay, so let's start now. Are you ready yet? Like, let's stop sitting at home wondering if we should be creative. I'm thinking maybe some of you might be people who, no offense, but some people are like, well, maybe I'll like start a class next year in November and then maybe then I'll like start suddenly being an artist. It's like, bro or sis, if you have 5 minutes right now, start doing something. It's not this special thing that you should keep putting off. Like, are you ready yet? Let's do this art stuff now. Yes, right now it feels like a silly hobby and you feel unskilled, but you got to get the ball rolling. It's going to link up with the major river of creative talent and passion downstream. You got to get downstream first. Start hitting some balls, start doing some kicks, start doing some flips so your instincts come into play and you can feel what instinctually feels good to you. Okay, am I connecting some dots here? So now I'm going to look at some cards. These are how my cards began, clunky little scraps of paper. So I'm going to take one of these to see what is the raw material that you're working with. This could be really interesting for this group. What is the raw material? This could be a powerful hint. And this is how to refine it. That's the raw material, and this is like the refinement process. How are you processing this raw goods that you want to work with? Maybe it's too soon for you to know this, but it might be a tip or a hint. So your raw material that you're working with in your creative process. Tuchus. It's the thing that made you happy when you were a child. What did you automatically start doing? When you were on the playground, when you were alone in your room, what did you start doing? And think about the way you felt and other ways that make you feel the same thing. Maybe what you always started doing was humming a tune. Now that doesn't mean you need to be a professional hummer, but not that's even a job or artistic expression. But like something about that was fun, either what inspired you to hum or where you did this. Like, that's a major clue. What did you love to do when you were a child? Or not even what did you love, what did you just automatically start doing? What was your natural way to play? What did you start to imagine when you were bored in math class? This is key insight to go back to and reflect on. In terms of this, like trying different things and finding the core thing. Okay, let's see how you refine this. Revolution. One for all. Wow, you refine it by insisting on I'm me, I need to do this for me, and this is good for everyone if I do my thing. It's kind of like allowing yourself to be selfish. When I was a little kid, I loved to draw with crayons, and I'm going to do that as an adult. For me. I deserve to, I need to, this is it. I'm going to insist on exploring this more and insist on saying this is worthwhile now. That's the revolution. If you want to put it simply, it's like a revolution to insist that the child you was onto something. Child you wasn't bad and confused because you liked this hobby more than math. And adult you is not bad and confused for wanting to have this childhood joy again. You gotta insist upon it. And I know this can be deep and involve many inner child things, but it's like you can start taking small steps and be like, I want to do this for me. For little child me that's still there someday. Little child me loved to do this, but at age 8, my teacher said I was bad and stupid and I stopped. Or my parents refused to let me do this. Now I'm an adult. I'm going to, even though it's scary and embarrassing because I'm amateur, I'm going to pick up that trombone again and play it. And then in the process, I'll realize, oh, it wasn't the trombone, it was music. And now this unexpected different thing is my actual passion, and I'm rediscovering it and exploring it as an adult and finally being the artist I was meant to be. All right, the dots are coming together now. There's something to develop and discover, and it might still be hazy, but you've got some clues, you could find some more clues, and you got to start doing stuff to like follow the clues further, not just thinking one day when I retire, I'll take one art class and then I'll rediscover my childhood joy. If you're retirement age, sure, but be a little more loose. Try this, try that. Yes, maybe sit and think, what did you enjoy as a child? And then actually do it and actually explore it and be open to being led to a totally different thing. Don't be too scared that, oh no, I'm bad at pottery, I can't do it anymore. Maybe taking a pottery class will lead you to a totally different thing. And I feel like I'm repeating myself, so I'm just going to stop. And tiny things can grow into big things, big, powerful things. Tiny little pieces can fall into place, and next thing you know, boom, 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 it's full of energy and vibrancy. Tiny little seedlings can grow into a tree. Tiny little seedlings can be the source of a revolution. A tiny little speck of dirt could end up being the beginning of a mountain. Like, it's kind of funny. So don't throw that speck of dirt in the trash can. Don't think it's just a speck. That's the key take-home message. That little rock, you should treasure it and respect it and not say, this could never be a mountain. It's so small compared to a mountain. No, 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 no. Okay? I'm going to leave your message here. Check the link section for links to my game, my cards, everything else. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and bye-bye. Pile 4. You chose Recess, aka Tuchus, aka Little Green Glass Leaf Pile. Last pile of the reading. So this reading is going to be about your creative path, a creative path you could take if you choose to accept it, what it could lead to, and some tips for following it. So I think we can all be many types of artists. You're not just one artist who makes one thing. This is going to be a little possibility that you could pursue. And you could be a kind of artist like this. I'm going to put this over here. And artist path for pile 4. This is a path you could be on. It's got 3 sides. It's kind of stable and balanced. These are the things that make up this path, and it could lead to you being this type of artist. Now, this is a thing to keep in mind. We'll look at that later. So, your path. Gentle joy. Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. Time to reveal a secret. If you focus on developing a soft, pure, perfectly pure and gentle feeling that's too pure and too gentle for this world, it's scary, but it's deeply, deeply powerful, and it can change your life and change the world. This is the power of curling up in a ball and just practicing feeling a complete, unguarded, vulnerable, safe, precious, gentle feeling with yourself, by yourself, and knowing what that feels like and treasuring it. And that can go deep, 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 deep. That's the foundation. Wow. The catch is that feeling this pure and gentle is terrifying because the world we're in is really harsh and scary. It's scarily easy to hurt others or hurt yourself. You could fall down and break your leg. You could just say a passing comment that triggers someone and hurts them deeply. This is all terrifying. So it's scary to feel totally vulnerable, gentle, not forceful, just like unguarded, soft, loving, welcoming without having judgment. That can feel terrifying. Like to be like that in the presence of a person, there's so many reasons that we feel like we have to be judgmental to people to protect ourselves. Judging, is that person safe? And of course that's important, and good judgment's really important. But your creative practice comes from building this feeling of softness and listening to it and acting from it, which takes incredible, incredible courage beyond belief, even though people view this as weakness. People view it as so weak and lame to just be soft and curled up in a ball and being loving, but it takes insane amounts of courage and I mean just courage, because it feels like a major conflict with how harsh and dangerous the world is. And on the one hand, the world doesn't have to be so harsh, but on the other hand, I mean, it just is. You could fall down, break your leg, a meteor could come out of the sky and kill everybody. That's all pretty realistic, and that's kind of scary and dangerous. But we're here in this crazy world, and we have the capacity for deep, deep compassion. So let me show you cards. You got compassion, you got gentle joy, and you got precision. You can see the difference. This card is cold and piercing, and the other ones are deeply soft and gentle. So on the one hand, it's a cold, piercing world, and it's hard to be gentle, but also this gentleness, if you follow it, it can lead you to a deep, deep, powerful place to make beautiful art coming from the most pure feeling, pure, unadulterated feeling. This could lead to you winning awards, massive success, making money. This is Lil Nas X winning Grammys. This is the card of success. But the success comes from like supreme vulnerability, softness, quietness, not from a place of force. It feels scary to not be forceful, but you're going to have a lot of courage. Wow, putting yourself out there with all your pinkness. Pinkness is Foofter power. This is the star of my game, Foofter, the compassionate little fluffy monster. Wow. The courage to be gentle and compassionate with an open mind and kind heart. You could say it has to be balanced by an incredible amount of courage and strength and confidence in order to survive and put yourself out there. So you might need more than just this, but it's coming from a place of purity. And that just is powerful, and people respond to it. But it's not even about other people. It's not about the awards. Wow, let's see what this card is. Rebuild a new foundation. Yeah, like it's like you might need to. I would guess that if you're in this pile, you might have experienced extremely painful things and you might need help. You might need deep healing time. You might need therapy time. You might need time curled up in a ball. But if you can heal these deeply, deeply painful places, you're going to have compassion in deep, deep places that most people never go. And that's extremely powerful. Then you have the power to help others with the stuff that you're making because it's based on deep understanding of how it feels to hurt and how it feels to go from hurting to healed. And that's just incredibly powerful stuff to share with the world. So the more you heal and recover, the better. Yeah, I guess your work is coming from a place of having been through deeply painful things and then choosing to be loving and understanding how to get back to a healthy place from a deeply unhealthy one. And walking around with a healed inner child in place, which is really, really hard. And it involves getting a healed inner adult on place. And Lil Nas X had difficult childhood experiences that he sings about in some of his songs. So, wow, it's sharing the process of recovery in the form of art. Talk about the art that the world needs right now. And powerful, powerful stuff. It's could partly be art practice as a therapeutic practice or sharing the fruits of your therapeutic practice. Therapeutic has kind of become a weird word that just means like everything related to self understanding and healing, which could take many forms and needs many forms, not just, it doesn't just happen in an hour-long session with a therapist. We need many other healing things throughout our lives, relational healing, feeling your feelings in your day-to-day life, blah, blah, blah. But wow, following this path of like healing art takes you to a really successful place. But I want to say, like, success has many definitions. You might not literally win Grammys. I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but you win a lot of rewards. Maybe it's spiritually and emotionally and socially, maybe financially, but definitely rewarding you in the quality of your life and the quality of your creative practice. And wow, yeah. Let's look at this card. These are how I've started my deck. Scraps of paper with little sketches. I'm going to take one to see what is the raw material you're working with. We kind of got that. It's the deep pain and the healing and recovery process. But let's just see a tip for what you're working with. A jelly pot. You're working with like the most deep and ancient wisdom. Like, wow, none of this is new. People have been healing and recovering things for hundreds and thousands of years. It's core human knowledge that we forgot about, since considering none of this is valued and we're just told we have to work all the time. And it's bad to sit around curled up in a ball feeling feelings, and therapy is devalued as well. Until recently, it's getting a little bit better. But wow, you're working with the most deep human wisdom, knowing about deep, powerful things and being able to sit with them in their presence and be comfortable. Being comfortable being in the presence of huge, powerful, deep things. Wow, that's what you're working with. And now these cards are how to refine your art practice to the next level, because my cards went step 1, step 2, step 3. So how do you get from this raw scribble to the final product? These cards are going to tell us. Well, that card just flew out. Wow, it's about being seen. This is not a rush, but at some point in your process, I know this from personal experience. Let's say you've spent a lot of time journaling, curled up in a ball, talking to a therapist and friends in private. When you take that first step and you make really vulnerable, honest artwork, and actually show it to people on a stage, that's cathartic as F. Being seen, putting that work in the spotlight, putting you in the spotlight, while saying this is vulnerable stuff I dealt with and I worked through, and this is how it works. This is like deeply cathartic for you. Like it's almost like feels like it's focusing more on your healing journey. Like this is going to advance your healing journey to the next level, to make art about it and have the art be seen. Like, honestly, forget if the art wins awards or makes money. It's like this is how you develop to the next level. Taking this personal stuff and to some degree, when you're ready in a safe way, putting it on a stage in a spotlight. Wow. That's how you develop and refine this deep ancient knowledge that you've obtained and are obtaining and push your art to the next level. I'm speechless. Look how he's pointing over there. Sorry, he's like pointing to the side. So he's like pointing over there to the this Lil Nas X swirling vortex. It's like, look at all this that could be yours. You could be this smiling, happy version of yourself that's comfortable being present with painful memories, being an icon for others to look to who are struggling with things you used to struggle with. You could be the one they look to. You could be comfortable and smiling, having worked through things and holding the fruits of your labor. And the key is getting to a point where there's something that you can share and feel comfortable sharing and having people see it and respond to it. Imagine you make this super vulnerable work, you put it out there, and someone says, wow, I experienced the same thing. I've never seen it expressed by someone else before. This is so moving and touching. Thank you so much for making this. Imagine how good it would feel to hear that after you created and shared deeply vulnerable personal work. That's cathartic as F. And I'm saying from my experience in making my game Monster Garden, which is about personal things like this, and I'm having people play it, and some of them looked like a little bit teary eyed or moved and saying they loved it and they never played a game like this and thanking me for making it and saying they want to make their own Monster Garden. There's no words for how deep and moving that is. Seeing other readers use my cards in tarot readings and seeing them developing their own relationships to the cards and finding their own meaning, and these cards are based on my personal healing journey, that's beyond words, next level, cathartic, beautiful for me. Like, it's almost, I'm like, this is too good. Do I get to enjoy this feeling? But you could say you earn that feeling when you put in all the work and effort in your healing journey and in your creative journey and wrap it all together and put it out there in public. So that's the end of your reading. That's all there is to say. Boom, boom, pile four. Y'all are amazing. Wishing you so much luck and fun and joy and all the good stuff on your journey, creative journey, healing journey, gentle foofter journey, because y'all are a bunch of gentle foofters. I just know you are. And someday you might be a pink rainbow cowboy soaring through the skies with all the awards that you got for your work based on your gentle healing journey. I'm like stumbling over my words now. This is beyond words. I'm gonna go now. Thank you. See you in the next video. All the relevant links are in the description box. There's all you need to know in there. Thanks for being open to my funny, silly little cards, and I'll see you in the next video.